Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take a stack of your sources, articles, research, our own notes, and really boil them down to give you that shortcut to being truly well-informed.
That's the goal.
And today, we're tackling something I know many of you innovators listening might be wrestling with. You've nurtured this brilliant idea, poured creativity into, let's say, a hyper-casual physics puzzle game.
Yeah, popular genre.
And now you're right there, on the edge of this huge opportunity, pitching to a major mobile game publisher. It's super exciting, for sure, but let's be real, it can also feel incredibly daunting.
Oh, absolutely. The mobile game industry is particularly hyper-casual. It just moves so fast, and it's relentlessly data-driven.
Right.
So for a solo developer, or maybe even a small indie team trying to navigate all that, it can feel like you're trying to solve one of your own complex puzzles, with all these hidden rules and mechanics.
Exactly. And that is precisely our mission for this deep dive. We want to cut through that complexity, feeling overwhelmed by the jargon, the metrics,
All the KPIs.
all the KPIs. Our goal is to equip you with a really clear step-by-step guide, a winning formula maybe for successfully navigating mobile game publishing. We're going to walk you through the whole process, chronologically, from initial research right up to sealing the deal.
And with a sharp focus on those key performance indicators, the KPIs, that publishers, they obsess over them.
They really do.
Mm.
This isn't just theory, right? It's meant to be a practical, data-backed roadmap, something even a complete beginner in this space can use.
We'll dig into why publishers are often, frankly, essential partners, how you can figure out which ones are actually a good fit for your kind of game, what makes a pitch truly compelling, especially when you get to the numbers, and critically, how you can optimize your game's performance to make it just irresistible in a, let's face it, very crowded market.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into phase one, pre-pitch prep, understanding the landscape, and just as vital, understanding your own game within it.
Foundation set.
Exactly. So first things first, let's really try and nail down what we mean by hyper-casual games and get a sense of their huge place in the mobile gaming market right now. What makes them so distinct?
Okay, so at their absolute core, hyper-casual games are defined by just extreme simplicity. We're talking mechanics that are incredibly easy to pick up, often within seconds.
Like literally seconds.
Literally seconds. Think basic controls, a single tap, maybe a simple swipe, maybe just tilting your phone. And this isn't just like a design choice, it's strategic.
Right.
This simplicity makes them accessible to this massive, broad audience. Anyone, really. Your kid, your grandma.
Yeah.
Anyone looking for a quick distraction.
It's that instant gratification, isn't it? Low barrier to entry. Perfect for those little moments in the day.
Precisely. They're deliberately designed for short, frequent play sessions, usually just a few minutes long. Ideal for on-the-go gaming. Waiting for coffee, on the bus, quick break between things. It fits the modern mobile lifestyle perfectly.
Yeah.
And this also feeds into their highly addictive gameplay loop. It's often repetitive, sure, but engaging tasks that always encourage that, okay, just one more round feeling. For a physics puzzle game, maybe that's the satisfying clink or crash when you solve it perfectly, or just seeing things fall exactly how you planned, that immediate feedback.
And visually, they're pretty streamlined, too. Aren't they? Not super complex graphics.
Absolutely. They really champion minimalistic design. Clean visuals focus purely on a function over, say, elaborate art.
Okay.
And that's practical too. It massively cuts down development time for creators like you, allows for quicker prototyping, faster changes.
Makes sense.
And monetization, primarily through in-app ads. You see rewarded videos a lot, watch an ad, get a hint for your puzzle maybe.
Right, I use those sometimes.
Yeah. Or interstitial ads, the ones that pop up between levels. Sometimes complemented by a few in-app purchases, usually cosmetic stuff, or maybe an option to remove the ads entirely. Not usually for core gameplay advantages, though.
That strategic simplicity really clarifies why they're so appealing. But these games, they aren't just some small niche, are they? I mean, they feel like they're absolutely everywhere.
Oh, far from a niche. They are a colossal segment of the mobile gaming industry. Back in 2020, the hyper-casual genre alone was valued at, $3 billion?
Wow.
And fast forward to 2024, it accounted for nearly 1/3 of all global mobile game downloads.
A third. That's huge.
It's staggering. It really highlights the immense reach. And looking ahead, the market's projected to keep growing, a compound annual growth rate of about 7.6% from 2023 to 2028.
So it's not slowing down.
Not at all. This isn't just a trend. It's a massive, expanding space publishers are heavily, heavily invested in. And the key insight here isn't just, oh, these games are easy. It's that the simplicity drastically lowers the barrier for players, which lets publishers acquire users really cheaply. That low cost per install, or CPI, that's crucial for them hitting massive scale with ad revenue.
Which brings us to the next big question. Given all that, why exactly does an indie developer, maybe someone with a brilliant physics puzzle game, needs a publisher? It might seem a bit counterintuitive, right? Giving up a slice of your game. What's the real value that makes that trade-off worthwhile, especially for a game that seems simple enough to maybe market yourself?
That's a really fundamental question and the core reason. It usually comes down to a massive resource gap.
Right.
You might be a genius at designing physics puzzles, but user acquisition, UA, those campaigns to really hit the top charts worldwide, saturate the market. They can require budgets in the millions of dollars.
Millions, wow.
Yeah, we're talking huge ad spends across Facebook, Google, TikTok, all the ad networks. Most indie developers just don't have that kind of financial muscle. Publishers do. They have the deep pockets, the capital to launch these global multi-million-dollar campaigns. It's a scale that's just out of reach for almost any individual developer.
So it's the money, obviously. But it's not just the money, is it?
Yeah.
It's also about their expertise, their tools, their institutional knowledge.
Absolutely. Publishers bring years of know-how, strategic guidance, specialized tools. It's invaluable. This expertise covers everything. Sophisticated UA strategies, knowing exactly who to target, where, when, how much to bid. Creative production, too.
Right, those slick video ads you see.
Exactly. They have whole teams making and testing those videos and banners constantly. They also excel at App Store optimization, ASO, getting your game seen in the app stores, and they deploy really sophisticated monetization strategies. They can amplify a game's reach, its success, by like 10x, even 100x, because they have the data, the scale, the existing relationships in the whole ecosystem.
I've also heard some publishers go even further than just marketing and funding. They actually help with the development side. How common is that? Do they get involved in refining mechanics or the creative stuff?
Yeah, that's definitely becoming more common. Some publishers, Azure Games is one example, they actually have in-house development departments.
Right.
They might step in to help you refine core mechanics, optimize the game's performance, adjust the difficulty curve, maybe tweak settings to make sure the game is as engaging and polished as possible for a mass audience. That can be incredibly helpful for an indie dev who's great at the core idea, but maybe needs help with the nitty-gritty of market optimization. And something else that's crucial, often overlooked by developers, is the reduced risk. Publishers bear a huge chunk of the financial risk. If a game, even with everyone's best efforts, just doesn't perform in the market, well, developers can often just walk away from the partnership whilst, and this is critical, retaining their intellectual property, their IP rights.
That's huge. So your idea is still yours.
Exactly. It protects your creation. And honestly, reputable publishers are very unlikely to just steal ideas. The financial risk, the reputational damage, it's just not worth it for them. Their business relies on good, long-term partnerships, not burning bridges.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Huge plus for indie devs, mitigating that risk. So once you get why you need a publisher, the next crucial step in this pre-pitch phase is the homework. Meticulously researching and selecting your target publishers. It's definitely not a case of just blasting your game out to everyone, is it?
No, not at all. That's a recipe for wasted effort. It's absolutely essential to pinpoint publishers whose existing games, their portfolio, and their expertise really align with your game's genre and target audience.
Right.
For a hyper-casual physics puzzle game, you need to laser focus on publishers strong in hyper-casual and potentially casual puzzle categories. This ensures they have the right marketing channels dialed in, deep audience insights for your specific niche, and monetization strategies that work for similar games. Pitching your physics puzzler to someone who only does, say, hardcore RPGs. Complete waste of time for everyone involved.
Okay, so we understand the why. Now let's talk who. Who are the major players a physics puzzle developer should really have on their radar? Any big names we should highlight for our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. In this sort of hyper-casual dominator space, you've got the real giants. Voodoo is often called the king, right? Over 5 billion downloads. They really emphasize rapid testing. And for their Voodoo Live program, they specifically want games hitting 10% day 7 retention. That tells you how serious they are about long-term potential.
10% D7 is high.
It is. Then there's Lion Studios, that's AppLovin's media arm. They did like 250 million installs in just one quarter back in 2020. They leverage AppLovin's massive ad network, obviously. Ketchup, a real pioneer, now owned by Ubisoft. Over 1.5 billion downloads across 200-plus games. Known for finding those simple, addictive hooks. Say Games, another giant, 4 billion downloads. They focus a lot on hybrid monetization, mixing ads and IAPs, and offer strong UA, marketing, and ASO support. They really get diversifying revenue.
Wow, those download numbers are just mind-boggling. Hard to even picture that scale.
They really are. Then you've got Quali, UK-based, very data-driven. They do internal game jams, foster innovation, over 1 billion installs.
Okay.
Quite developer-friendly. Supersonic, that's from Unity. Also billions of installs. Heavy focus on UA and monetization. They offer advanced A/B testing tools. Homa Games, growing fast. 1.82 million downloads in 2022, uses SDKs heavily for metrics. Crazy Labs, known for rigorous testing, and their CLIK dashboard, which gives developers transparency into metrics. They have over 300 people working there.
Transparency is good.
Very good. And Azure Games, top 3 globally by downloads, 3 billion plus. They're interesting because they're quite open to seeing projects really early, even at the concept or prototype stage. They'll validate ideas early using CPI and retention estimates. So each one has a slightly different flavor, a different process.
So those are the hyper-casual specialists. But for a physics puzzle game, are there other types of publishers that might also be a good fit? Maybe ones with a really strong casual puzzle background?
Definitely. You shouldn't ignore the casual puzzle powerhouses. King, obviously. Masters of Addictive Puzzles, Candy Crush Saga, need I say more, over 1 billion downloads. They understand long-term engagement and puzzle monetization like almost no one else. Zynga, known for social games, but they made a big move into hyper-casual by acquiring Rollic. So they have a serious presence now. Rovio Entertainment, Angry Birds, they obviously know physics-based gameplay inside out. A natural potential fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have the absolute giants, the massive corporations with a significant growing hyper-casual arm. Think Tencent Games, Nintendo pushing console IPs to mobile, EA Mobile, Supercell, Niantic. Each brings unique strengths, huge resources, and massive existing user bases.
It really feels like choosing the right publisher is about their specialty and strategic fit just as much as their size. But beyond the games they publish, what about their reputation? How transparent are they? That seems super important when you're choosing a partner.
That's a critical point. Don't overlook it. You should meticulously research publishers. Look for ones with a strong, positive reputation in the developer community, and crucially, ones with transparent processes. Voodoo, for instance, gets props for giving devs access to their internal testing tools and knowledge base. That's a good sign. Shows commitment to transparency, empowering developers.
Okay.
But a big word of caution here. Be wary of smaller or newer publishers offering deals that seem, abnormally appealing, like really high profit shares right off the bat.
Too good to be true.
Sometimes. While tempting, their main goal initially might be less about your game's long-term success and more about just grabbing data quickly, hitting high download numbers across lots of early projects to build their portfolio or test new markets. Sometimes that comes at the expense of sustained profit for individual games. Always scrutinize those deals. Understand their motives.
Got it.
So the deliverable for this whole research phase, it's a curated shortlist, maybe 3 to 5 potential publishers that genuinely seem like the best fit for your specific hyper-casual physics puzzle game.
Okay, so you've done the deep dive on publishers, assessed the landscape, got your shortlist. Now the focus swings back to your game. The next step is assessing its development stage and, crucially, preparing some early key performance indicators. This is where that data-driven nature of mobile publishing really kicks in, right?
Yes, this is absolutely where the rubber meets the road. And interestingly, you actually have some flexibility in how done your game needs to be when you first reach out.
Oh.
Yeah, some publishers, like Azure Games we mentioned, are surprisingly open to looking at ideas even at the super early concept stage.
Just an idea.
Yeah. They might suggest using what they call fake shots. Basically, high-quality mock-up visuals or short animations that look exactly like your game in action, maybe showing a really satisfying physics solution or a cool power-up. They'll then run tiny targeted ad campaigns with different versions of these fake shots just to gauge initial audience interest and see which visual style resonates before you even start full production. A strong click-through rate on those tells them your core concept has market appeal, visually at least.
That's fascinating. So you don't even need a working game to get some initial validation from certain publishers. That lowers the barrier quite a bit for early ideas.
It really does. Then, of course, you have the working prototype stage, a basic, playable version to test your core mechanics, find early problems, refine the gameplay. This is often a great stage to pitch at, shows you have something functional. And naturally, you can pitch a fully ready product, maybe one you've even soft-launched in a small region already. But regardless of the stage, for hyper-casual physics puzzles, which are so data-driven because of the ad monetization, having early estimates or, even better, actual soft-launch data for key performance indicators is absolutely crucial.
Okay.
This is your main way to demonstrate your game's raw potential to a publisher. It's the language they understand best.
So let's talk KPIs then, these key performance indicators. Publishers obsess over them. Understanding them is just paramount for any dev. Where do we even start with this pile of numbers?
Right. The absolute cornerstone of success in mobile gaming, especially hyper-casual, is retention.
Retention.
It's the most vital metric. Why? Because it directly impacts everything else. User acquisition, monetization, the game's overall long-term health. If your retention is bad, your UA budget just evaporates because you're constantly replacing players who leave.
Makes sense. Leaky bucket.
Exactly. That's why a publisher's first question will almost always be about your retention rates. We usually look at 3 key checkpoints: day 1, day 7, and day 28 retention.
Okay, let's break those down for a physics puzzle game, starting with day 1, D1.
Okay, D1 retention. This measures the percentage of players who come back one day after their very first play session. Think of it like trying on new shoes. Do they feel good enough to wear again tomorrow? For puzzle games, the median benchmark in 2024 was around, say, 19.7% to 20.7%. Generally, the top 25% across all genres hit maybe 26-28%.
Okay.
What you should target, what publishers consider really excellent for hyper-casual, is 30% or more. If your D1 is low, that's an immediate red flag. It almost always points to problems with your onboarding, your tutorial, or just the very first moments of gameplay. Players aren't getting hooked right away.
And day 7, that feels like a much bigger test, right? Proving the game has some staying power beyond that first impression.
It absolutely is. D7 retention measures the percentage returning 7 days after that first session. This is like, okay, you wore the shoes for a week. Are they actually comfortable long term?
Right.
The median for puzzle games in 2024 was lower, around 4.3% to 4.8%. Top 25% across all genres was maybe 7-8%. Here, you should aim for at least 7-8%, but ideally you want to be above 10%. Remember, Voodoo's live program, they require 10% plus D7 retention just to be considered. A big drop from D1 to D7 usually suggests issues with the core gameplay loop. Maybe it gets repetitive too fast, not enough engaging content depth to keep players invested after the novelty fades.
And then the really long-term test, day 28. D28, that's a true measure of lasting engagement.
D28 retention. Percentage returning 28 days after starting. This is the wearing the shoes for a month test. Are they still your favorites?
Okay.
The puzzle game median here in 2024 was pretty modest, like 1.1% to 1.3%. Generally, something like 75% of all mobile games don't even break 3% D28 retention.
That low.
Yeah. So for your game, you should aim for at least 2-3%, ideally more, to really show strong long-term potential. Low D28 usually signals repetition, content stagnation, maybe a lack of new mechanics or goals to keep players striving. Publishers know high retention lets them spend more on UA because players stick around longer, generating more ad revenue. These retention numbers, they tell the story of long-term value, which is what gives publishers the confidence to invest potentially millions in scaling your game.
Okay, so beyond just coming back, how much time are players actually spending in the game when they do return? That's where engagement metrics fit in, right? Not just returning, but what they do.
Exactly. So playtime, total time a user plays per day. Puzzle game median in 2024 was around 30 minutes, maybe 29.5 to 31.1.
Yeah.
You should aim for at least 30 minutes a day. Some publishers, like Crazy Labs, specifically track 24-hour playtime to gauge overall addictiveness. Then average session length, how long is a single play session? Puzzle games in 2024 saw around 5.6 to 5.7 minutes. Hyper-casual casual usually sits around 5-6 minutes. Mid-core games are longer, maybe 10-15. For your game, aim for at least 6 to 7 minutes per session. Shows strong engagement each time they open the app.
Yeah.
The session count, how many times do they open it per day? Equally important. Puzzle median in 2024 was about 4.6 to 4.9 sessions. Aim for at least 5 sessions per day. This shows frequent re-engagement, that your game fits nicely into those little micro moments in a player's day.
That paints a really clear picture of engagement. But for publishers, a huge piece of this whole equation is the cost of getting those players in the door. That's where cost per install, CPI, becomes so critical for their bottom line.
It really is. CPI is simply the price they pay for each new user who installs your game after seeing an ad, and this metric varies wildly. It depends on the platform, the country, the genre.
Right.
For pure hyper-casual, CPI can be incredibly low, sometimes just $0.40. But a complex, casual puzzle game could be $30 per install in a super competitive market like the US.
Big difference.
Huge. Publishers will definitely invest in testing your game's CPI to understand their potential user acquisition cost. Your goal here is to show the potential for a low CPI. How? Often for really compelling ad creatives. Short, punchy video ads. 5 to 15 seconds maybe. Instantly show the core gameplay, the satisfaction. Quick cuts, cool physics reactions, clear puzzle solutions. As an indie dev, you can even run tiny A/B tests yourself on Facebook ads with a small budget just to see which ad hooks users best before you even talk to a publisher. That early data is gold.
And finally, what about the money itself? Monetization potential. Especially if your game leans more towards hybrid casual or has more focus on in-app purchases. What do publishers look for there?
Okay, for monetization, they scrutinize several things. Ideally, your rewarded video ad value, the revenue per rewarded ad view, should be above $1.05.
Okay.
They also want to see that more than 30% of your daily active users, your DAU, are actually watching ads, shows your placements are effective and not annoying players away.
Right.
For in-app purchases, IAPs, a key metric is day 7 pair fraction, the percentage of users who make their first purchase by day 7. Aim for above 10%.
10% by day 7.
Okay. Publishers also look at the minimum IAP price point. Research suggests prices above $2 generally boost ARPDAU average revenue per daily active user. Why $2? Seems to be a psychological sweet spot. Players are often willing to spend a small amount for value, and it covers transaction fees better than tiny micro purchases. Jumping straight to $5 or $10 can be a big hurdle for a first buy. And you should target 3 or more purchases per paying user. Shows depth in your IAP strategy that people come back to buy more.
So the deliverable for this whole intense pre-pitch phase is basically a well-researched short list of publishers and internal estimates, or ideally early test results for all these crucial KPIs.
Yeah.
That's a serious amount of homework, but it sounds absolutely vital for speaking the publisher's language.
It absolutely is, this groundwork. It's the foundation for any successful pitch.
All right, phase 1 complete. You've done the homework, assessed your game's potential, get your preliminary data, your KPIs, ready to tell that compelling story. Now, it's showtime. Phase 2, crafting and delivering your pitch. This is where you actually present your game to those targeted publishers, telling your game's story backed by that crucial data.
Yeah, this stage is all about clear, concise, and compelling communication. First up, you need to introduce your team and your core concept. Basically, tell your story.
Nope.
Who are you? What's your team good at? What's your background? And what's the brilliant core idea that makes your hyper-casual physics puzzle game special? Different.
And the style here should be super concise, right? Like, less is more is the mantra.
Exactly. Hit the highlights. What are your game's unique selling points? Aim for a little emotional resonance, maybe, for a physics puzzle. That could be the feeling of clever problem solving, that satisfying aha moment. This initial intro should be brief, compelling, usually written in a concise email or a very short intro doc that just sets the stage for the rest. Remember, publishers see tons of pitches. You got to grab their attention fast.
Then you need to show, not just tell, which means creating a really impactful gameplay video. This is often the very first look a publisher gets at your actual game.
This video is absolutely vital. It's your game's elevator pitch, but visual.
Yep.
Needs to be short, punchy, convey the essence in seconds.
Okay.
Content-wise, clearly show the core concept, the mechanics, especially how those physics puzzles work in a satisfying way, and maybe the setting. For hyper-casual, stress how quickly it's understood and played in short bursts. Maybe structure it like a mini-story. Introduce a puzzle. Show the mechanics, solving it elegantly. End with that satisfying resolution and visual reward. Length? 30 to 60 seconds is usually good. Show off the most exciting, intuitive parts, those cool physics interactions.
After that killer video, they'll want to get their hands on it, play it themselves. So providing a playable build or maybe a store link is next.
That's right. The task is simple. Give them direct access to experience it firsthand. Provide a link to a stable, playable build and APK for Android and IPA for iOS, or both ideally. Or, if you've soft-launched, a link to the live store page. Publishers need to test drive it and make sure that build is stable. No crashes, no major bugs. It has to accurately represent the core loop. Any instability is an immediate turnoff.
And then The numbers.
Yeah.
You mentioned this before, but this is where you really lay your cards on the table. Present your analytics data. You said it. The best pitch you can make is with numbers.
This is arguably the most critical part of the pitch, especially for hyper-casual. You need to compile and present your key performance metrics clearly, concisely. Publishers live and breathe data. These numbers tell the story of your game's health, its potential. They validate everything else you've shown them.
So let's quickly recap those key metrics they'll zero in on now as actual data points you present.
Okay, you'll definitely highlight your core retention rates. D1, D7, and if you have it, D28. Maybe mention that physics puzzles often have potential for higher retention than some other hyper-casual types, thanks to that puzzle-solving engagement. Then, show your engagement patterns, average session length, total daily playtime, and your session count, how often are they coming back each day.
What if your game is more hybrid casual or relies more heavily on IAPs? What specific monetization KPIs do you need to show then, beyond just the ad stuff?
Right. For those, you absolutely need to include your day 7 payer fraction, aiming for over 10%, remember. Note your minimum IAP price point, maybe mentioning that $2 plus seems to positively impact ARPDAU. Also show purchases per paying user targeting 3 or more for good ARPDAU depth. Beyond that, report the percentage of daily active users watching ads, aiming for 30%. Your rewarded video ad value, aiming for 0 $5.
Got it.
And crucially, average revenue per user, ARPU, and average revenue per daily active user, ARPDAU, to show overall revenue generation. And the big one, lifetime value, LTV. You must present your LTV estimate or data.
LTV, yeah, that feels like the ultimate metric.
Yep.
It dictates profitability, how much they can even spend on UA.
Yeah.
It's the compass, like you said.
Absolutely. LTV isn't just a number. It is the profitability compass for their entire business model around your game. If your LTV is, say, $2, they know they just can't spend $3 to acquire a user. It dictates everything. Now, a key point for developers here. Don't panic if your initial metrics aren't perfect across the board. Publishers are sophisticated. They look beyond just raw numbers. They're assessing if the project is worth improving. They'll analyze why metrics might be low. Maybe you targeted the wrong audience in your early tests. Maybe you bought low-quality traffic yourself. Or maybe it's just an early prototype, not the polished final version.
Right. Context matters.
Exactly. The best approach. Tell the story behind the data. Our D1 started at X, but after we improved the tutorial, we saw a Z% lift showing we can iterate and improve. That demonstrates potential and that you understand the data.
So the deliverable here is a clear, concise KPI report, along with that stable build and compelling video. And if you do a formal presentation deck, keep it short, focused, with working links ready to go.
That's the package. You've given them everything they need to make an informed first assessment.
Okay, phase 2, done. You've pitched brilliantly, show the data, and hey, the publisher's interested. This brings us to phase 3, post-pitch engagement and negotiation. This is where the partnership really starts to take shape, formalizing the relationship. Crucial stage.
Indeed. The very first step here is usually initial feedback and integration. After you send everything over, the publisher's team, product managers, UA folks, monetization experts, they'll do an internal assessment.
Okay.
They'll look at your game's potential, how it fits their strategy. You should expect feedback pretty quickly, usually within a couple of days, maybe up to a week. This is their internal green light meeting, basically.
Right.
Does it show enough promise to move forward?
And if they give it the thumbs up, then comes the tech stuff. What does that integration actually involve for a developer? Is it complicated?
Yeah, if they like what they see, technical integration starts. You'll likely need to add small pieces of code, usually called SDKs, software development kits, into your game.
Right, SDKs.
These connect your game to various analytics platforms. Could be standard tools like Facebook Analytics, AppsFlyer, maybe their own in-house publisher dashboard. This gives the publisher real-time visibility into your game's performance. They need to see installs, sessions, retention, ad views, everything, directly. So be ready for some technical back and forth. Often happens fast on Slack or a dedicated developer portal. Your deliverable here. Quick responses to their feedback and getting that technical integration done cleanly and correctly. This step is vital. It sets up the data pipeline they'll use for every decision moving forward.
Once that tech integration is sorted, they'll want to see how it actually performs with real players, right? In a controlled way. That leads to public testing, often called a soft launch, and then, fingers crossed, a formal publishing offer.
Exactly. If it passes internal checks and the tech integration is smooth, the publisher will then buy a small, targeted amount of user traffic. This isn't the big global launch yet. It's
Good.
a controlled test. Real users, real-world conditions. This soft launch is critical. It moves from estimates to actual data. During this phase, they are laser-focused on D1 and D7 retention, and crucially, your cost per install, CPI.
Those core metrics again.
The core metrics. These determine marketability and scalability for hyper-casual. They need proof your game can get users affordably and keep them engaged for at least that first week. If the testing goes well, if your game hits their benchmarks on these KPIs, then they'll make a formal publishing offer.
So the soft launch goes well, hits the numbers, you get the offer. Fantastic. That's when the contract negotiation kicks off. This feels like maybe the most critical stage for the developer, where you absolutely need to scrutinize every single detail.
Absolutely. Cannot stress this enough. This stage is perhaps the most crucial for your long-term success and, frankly, your protection as a developer. You must carefully review every single proposed term.
Every word.
Every word. Make sure definitions are crystal clear. Conditions, scope of work for both sides, agreement term lengths, all the financial details leave zero room for ambiguity.
And for indie devs, their intellectual property, their IP, is often their most valuable asset. How do they make sure that's protected? What are the key things to look for there?
Paramount. It is critical, non-negotiable, really, that you retain your intellectual property rights to the game.
Retain. Okay.
This gives you vital flexibility. If the partnership doesn't work out for whatever reason, or the game doesn't hit its potential with that publisher, retaining your IP means you can potentially take it elsewhere later, or even self-publish. It's worth saying again. Reputable, established publishers are highly unlikely to just steal ideas. The risks, financial, legal, reputational, are just too high. Their business relies on good developer relationships.
Okay, securing IP is foundational. What about the money side revenue sharing? How does that usually work? What should a developer look out for in those clauses? It can get complicated, right?
It can. Publishers typically use various revenue-sharing models, you need to understand. Is the split based on gross revenue, the total money before any costs are deducted? Or net revenue, the money left after costs like UA spend, platform fees, taxes, etc., are subtracted?
Big difference.
Huge difference. Sometimes a higher percentage of net revenue can actually be less appealing than a lower percentage of gross, because those deductions can be massive and sometimes opaque. Always clarify. Who eats the cost of UA that doesn't turn profitable?
Good question.
Some deals might include minimum guarantees money paid up front, or recoupment models where the publisher gets back their investment, like UA costs, before the revenue split even starts. Look for bonus tiers based on performance, too. And remember that warning about newer publishers offering super high shares. Initially, weigh that against their potential lack of scale or expertise compared to bigger players. Consider the whole package.
Beyond the money, what about what the publisher does? What should the contract spell out clearly in terms of their support and responsibilities?
The contract needs to meticulously detail the full scope of their support, primarily marketing efforts, the big traffic buying campaigns, creative production, making and testing those ads, App Store optimization, ASO, managing relations with Apple and Google. It might also include development support, helping improve mechanics, performance, adding content. You need to know exactly what they're committing to provide.
So it's not just launching it, but supporting it long-term, too.
Yeah.
Covering the whole life cycle.
Precisely. The contract should clarify post-launch responsibilities. What are the expectations for ongoing updates? Bug fixes, customer support, future iterations like seasonal content or new modes. You also need to fully understand the termination clauses. What are the specific conditions under which either party can end the agreement? This is your escape hatch if things go south or performance targets aren't met.
And this next point is probably the single most important piece of advice in this whole negotiation section, maybe the whole deep dive.
Yeah.
Get a lawyer.
Cannot stress this enough. It is highly, highly recommended. Honestly, it should be considered non-negotiable. Get a legal expert, specifically one experienced in the gaming industry, to review any contract before you sign. They can spot red flags you'd miss, negotiate better terms for you, clarify jargon, ensure your interests are fully protected. That upfront cost for legal counsel, it can save you massive headaches, arguments, and potentially huge financial losses down the road. The deliverable for this whole phase: a finalized, signed contract, the official start of your partnership.
Okay, contract signed, publisher on board. You're in a fantastic position. But the journey isn't over, is it? In many ways, it's just starting. The publisher will keep tracking performance relentlessly, and your ongoing work in this final phase determines long-term success. So our final phase, your winning formula for lasting triumph, continuously postdating. optimizing those KPIs for your physics puzzle game.
This is where the real long-term work lies. It's a dynamic, non-stop process of refinement, adaptation. Let's start with the absolute bedrock, improving your retention KPIs D1, D7, D28. Remember, retention is the cornerstone. It drives monetization, it drives UA potential. If players aren't sticking around, everything else is just patching leaks.
So how do you actually keep players coming back, especially after that critical first day? What's the secret sauce for stickiness?
You start by obsessively optimizing your onboarding, your F2U first-time user experience. If your D1 retention is low, this is almost always the first place to look.
Okay.
The goal: make that initial experience seamless, intuitive, immediately engaging. For a physics puzzle, that means clear, simple tutorials. Focus on the core physics, the basic puzzle solving. Don't overwhelm with text or too many steps. Players should get it in seconds. Offer immediate early rewards. A quick sense of accomplishment, solve an easy first puzzle, feel smart, hook them instantly.
And for D7 retention, keeping them engaged for that first week, proving the core loop is solid.
That means strengthening your core gameplay loop. A big D1 to D7 drop screams lack of sustained engagement or content depth. You need to constantly refine that physics puzzle loop. Introduce increasing challenges, varied mechanics, but gradually. Maybe new physics elements, anti-gravity, sticky surfaces, environmental interactions, breakable glass, moving platforms, maybe unique tools that change how they solve puzzles. And crucially, ensure satisfying feedback loops visually, audibly for success and failure. Those fun, maybe exaggerated physics reactions when things work perfectly or go spectacularly wrong, they're key in your genre. Make players want to see it happen again.
And then the big one, D28 retention. Keeping players invested for a month, maybe longer. What's the key there? Preventing boredom.
That's where robust progression systems are vital. Low D28 often signals repetition, monotony, running out of things to do. You need layered goals.
Like what?
Think player leveling up, unlocking new game modes with different physics rules, cosmetic items, cool skins for puzzle pieces, different backgrounds, mission-based challenges. For hybrid casual, adding meta layers is fantastic. Yeah, instead of just solving puzzles, maybe your game has a story. You're a scientist rebuilding a lab. Completing puzzle chapters earns research points to upgrade tools, a magnet, bouncy gel, a laser. Gives players a long-term goal, investment purpose beyond just the next puzzle.
Beyond that progression, you just need more stuff to do over time.
Yeah.
Right? Fresh content.
Absolutely. To sustain interest beyond D28, you have to deliver fresh content regularly. New levels, new puzzle sets, seasonal events, holiday-themed physics challenges, time-limited challenges, a weekly physics challenge with unique rules, solve this using only X moves, don't touch the red blocks, keeps things dynamic, surprising, stops players hitting a wall.
But how do you know what to update or change?
Yeah.
Seems like guesswork without data.
You don't guess, you analyze and iterate based on real player feedback. This is crucial. Identify pain points, make sure your improvements actually work for players. Use in-game analytics tools like Game Analytics, tracks DAU, retention, session length, actively gather player feedback, app store reviews, in-game surveys, playtesting sessions, and then iterate relentlessly. Prototype new ideas, A/B test, different puzzle layouts, different hint systems, different tutorial flows. Test live ops changes constantly to see the immediate KPI impact.
And don't forget social, even for a single-player puzzler.
Great point. Integrate social elements. Increases engagement, motivation. Leaderboards, high scores, fastest times. Friend challenges send a tricky puzzle to a buddy. Shareable achievements for clever solutions. Turn solo play into something competitive or shared. And finally, a critical monetization point tied to retention. Avoid aggressive monetization that harms retention. Too many ads, pushy offers, players will just leave. High churn.
Right.
Integrate IAP smoothly, non-obtrusively. Offer rewarded videos strategically for hints. Undos when the player needs help, not disruptive pop-ups mid-puzzle. Find the balance.
And the absolute basics, often overlooked. Technical performance, nobody plays a buggy game for long.
No, they absolutely don't. Ensure impeccable technical performance. Crashes, long load times, laggy physics. Kills the experience, destroys retention. Minimize load times, squash bugs. Test rigorously to ensure it works well on all target devices, iOS and Android. Smooth, frustration-free performance is non-negotiable.
Okay, let's shift to improving engagement KPIs. Playtime, session length, session count. How do you get players spending more time in each session and coming back more often each day?
It really comes back to that core loop and progression again. A strong, rewarding core loop plus clear progression systems. That directly drives engagement. Players naturally spend more time if they feel constant achievement, constant purpose. You build that addictive feedback loop with continuous mini goals and rewards. They're way more likely to open the game 5 times a day if they know each session offers a little win.
So a good reward system is essential for that.
Absolutely. Implement effective rewards. Daily login bonuses. Streak rewards for playing multiple days in a row. Milestone achievements. Maybe special power-ups for daily logins that help with tough physics puzzles. Strong motivator. Or unique cosmetics for completing X number of levels.
And how do you design specifically for those short, frequent mobile sessions, that hyper-casual rhythm? It's different from console design, right?
Totally different. You design for it intentionally. Optimize for those quick gameplay bursts. Design levels or tasks completable in just 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
Easy pausing, auto-saving progress is key. Let players pick up and play whenever they have a short break. No fear of losing progress. Use checkpoints so they achieve meaningful goals even in short bursts. Fits the casual puzzle nature perfectly. Every small win builds engagement.
But how do you encourage more than just a quick login? How do you get them to, dive deeper once they have opened the app? Session depth.
Right, session depth, you want to motivate them to complete multiple levels, maybe use a social feature, maybe make an IAP, all within a single session. Little things. Immediately present the next level after one's done. Offer a limited time bonus for finishing a whole chapter of puzzles. Encourages continuous play within that session. And again, leverage social competitive stuff. Leaderboards, challenges they significantly boost playtime. External motivators, competing on a daily challenge leaderboard for fewest moves or fastest time. Showing friends your score. Keeps them playing longer each time.
Moving to user acquisition, UA KPIs. This is about bringing in new, high-quality players efficiently. What are the key optimization points here for a publisher partnership?
First, CPI cost per install. You, alongside the publisher, must constantly monitor CPI versus retention and LTV. Evaluate ad campaign cost effectiveness. Constantly tweaking ad creatives, targeting, bidding strategies to optimize. This is where publisher tech really helps. Then, new users install ratio. Track daily installs. Understand popularity, UA campaign performance. This also feeds into your geographic location, GEOs, and demographics targeting. Knowing where users are and who they are is fundamental. Localized strategies inform ad targeting. For a casual physics puzzler, maybe women over 30 in the US and UK are your high-value audience. Tailor ads specifically for them.
What about virality? The dream, right? Players bringing in more players.
The K factor, yeah. Measures word-of-mouth growth. How many new users does each existing user bring in via shares or referrals? Factor this into your LTV calculations, captures indirect revenue. This influences feature development. Adding a share your cool solution button or a challenge a friend feature becomes more valuable if K-factor is decent.
Makes sense.
And finally, ROAS, return on ad spend. This is the absolute cornerstone of effective UA. Track ROAS from day 1, day 3, day 7, day 30. Rigorously assess campaign performance, user quality. Early cohort performance, how users from the first few days perform, is crucial for making quick adjustments, literally within days. Avoid wasting money on campaigns bringing in low-value users.
Last, but definitely not least, maximizing monetization KPIs, making sure the game actually generates revenue effectively, ads or IAPs or both.
Right. Top of this list, ARPU, average revenue per user, and its daily version, ARPDAU, average revenue per daily active user. High RPAU, successful monetization.
How do you boost them?
Increase conversions, get more players buying, maybe lower initial prices, broader first-time deals, sophisticated segmentation to target offers. Increase spend depth, get existing spenders spending more. Adjust game autonomy's supply demand for resources. Offer bundles with better value at higher prices. Advanced stuff. Consider direct-to-consumer D2C channels like web shops. Bypass App Store fees. Get more revenue share, often richer user data for personalization.
And the ultimate monetization KPI again, lifetime value, LTV, dictates the whole financial viability.
LTV is indeed the most important. Determines profitability, guides UA spend. Directly tied to retention, longer lifespan equals more revenue potential. To maximize LTV, constantly refine UA to find channels bringing in the most profitable players, not just the cheapest installs. Segment users. Target high-value players with tailored offers. Balance acquisition and retention efforts. High LTV comes from strong retention. Focus on retargeting, re-engagement campaigns for inactive players. And critically, when calculating LTV, include both IAP and ad revenue. Get the full picture of player value.
What about ad performance specifics? Hyper-casual relies so heavily on ads.
Monitor eCPM, effective cost per mile. Revenue per 1,000 ad impressions. Hyatt eCPM lets you scale ad campaigns more effectively. Each impression is worth more.
Yeah.
For IAPs, publishers want that day 7 payer fraction above 10%. Encourage early buys with appealing starter bundles early in onboarding. Remember the $2 plus minimum IAP price point, often boosting ARPDAU. Offer good value there. Aim for 3+ purchases per paying user for good ARPDAU depth. Integrate IAPs smoothly. Personalize offers based on player needs and segments.
And can't forget the whales, right? Those big spenders.
Right. Aim for at least 5% of spenders to become whales, spending $100 plus lifetime. It's a long-term strategy. Nurture them, reward purchases. Whales usually make many smaller purchases, not one big one. For ad monetization specifics, publishers want 30% of DAU watching ads. Keep rewarded video ad value $0 or 5 cents. Offer truly valuable rewards for watching. Strategic placement, natural breaks, not mid-puzzle. Test frequency, find the sweet spot between revenue and UX. Personalize rewards, and be strategic about showing competitor ads less often, maybe only to low-value players, ideally at the end of a session.
This sounds incredibly data-intensive. What analytical tools are actually out there to help an indie dev or a small team track and optimize all this stuff?
Yeah, there's a whole ecosystem of powerful tools for comprehensive platforms. Game Analytics is great benchmarking, DAU, retention, session length, Market IQ for insights, Google Analytics, Firebase Analytics for general app data, mobile measurement partners like AppsFlyer, Adjust, Kochava, crucial for attribution tracking or knowing where installs came from, complex LTV calcs, real-time marketing data. AppsFlyer is really good for tying installs back to specific ad campaigns.
And for digging deeper into why users behave certain ways over time, beyond just the raw numbers.
For that deep dive cohort analysis, tools like Mixpanel and Amplitude are invaluable. They let you group users by shared traits, everyone who installed Tuesday, everyone who beat level 10, and track their behavior, retention, monetization over weeks, months. Pinpoints exactly where and why engagement might drop.
Yeah.
Plus, many publishers have their own dashboards. Crazy Labs has the CLIK dashboard transparency on D1, Playtime, CPI for devs. TapNation also offers tools for A/B tests, custom events within their system.
And for optimizing the ads and monetization directly?
Powerful platforms there too. Moloco uses AI for ad optimization, focusing on ROAS. Joe offers UA products, tracks ROAS at D1, D3, D7, D30, plus retention and ARPU. These tools let developers use advanced methods, cohort analysis, real-time analytics, user segmentation, continuous A/B testing, even predictive modeling to forecast performance. All essential for staying competitive and constantly optimizing.
Wow. Okay, that was truly a deep dive into successfully pitching your hyper-casual physics puzzle game. We've really walked through the whole landscape, publishers, the pitch anatomy, zooming right in on those critical KPIs that genuinely make or break a game's success in this super competitive market. You hopefully understand now that numbers aren't just stats. They're the living language of mobile gaming. They tell that compelling story about your game's health, player engagement, its ultimate profitability.
It's really clear, isn't it? From D1 retention right through to lifetime value, every single metric gives you unique insight into the player journey and your game's potential. By diligently tracking, analyzing, iterating based on those insights, you're not just, hoping for success, you're actively building a data-driven path towards it.
Yeah.
And remember, even if your first set of metrics aren't absolutely perfect, publishers look for potential. They look for promise. And crucially, they look for a team that understands data, knows how to iterate and improve. They're investing in the future potential as much as the present state.
So, as you refine your game, as you prepare that pitch, here's something to maybe chew on. In this world of incredibly short digital attention spans, how might the unique, engaging mechanics of your physics puzzle game, when combined with a really meticulous data-informed strategy for getting and keeping players, truly redefine what long-term engagement can even mean for hyper-casual mobile gaming? The future isn't just about the brilliant concept you create, but how intelligently, how consistently you nurture it through its entire life. The puzzle of success. It's yours to solve, one data-driven piece at a time.